Hey everybody, it's Justin from J3 Creation, and today we're going to be working with some black cotton doing a reverse dye, and I'm going to be doing a side point mandala. I'm probably just going to do an 8-point mandala for this video. I did recently do a 16-point mandala, and this is how it turned out. It's very beautiful. There were a couple things that I wanted to improve on it though, like I didn't let it dry out after I bleached it, and so I think that kind of messed with the saturation a little. I'm not sure, but we're going to see. And so to begin, you'll want to choose where you want your mandala. Now, you can have your mandala anywhere, you just need to understand how to fold it. I'm going to do my mandala probably here, but you can do it here, you can do it at the bottom of the shirt, you can do it at the side of the shirt of the bottom, either side. You can do it from the shoulder. There's so many things you could do. But anyway, so basically, like I said, you just need to understand how you're folding it, and to do a mandala, you basically fold it like you would a paper airplane. Not everybody's familiar with that idea, but most people are in America. So we'll start with about halfway down the shirt, and we'll fold up. Also, one quick note before we start, I found that if you tuck the sleeve, that's helpful, and you end up getting a pretty decent. So I found out if you tuck the sleeve, that'll be kind of helpful, and you end up getting a pretty good little pattern. I tried to do it without the sleeve tucked, and it just looked weird, and I didn't quite know what to do with the sleeve. So I think it's easier to just tuck the darn thing. Alright, so make sure your side of your shirt is at the right angle you want it, because sometimes it can be just a little bit off, and then it'll make your mandala look kind of weird. So yeah, first we'll fold it up, and then in the typical fashion of a mandala, we'll do one fold back, ensuring that your surface area is as flat as possible. And one more. So that's a 4-point mandala. This is an 8-point mandala. And to get the 16-point, you just fold it one more. But for this video, we're just going to do the 8-point mandala. You want to ensure that your folds here are uniform, because that will ultimately give you the crisp lines and the fun design. So once that's all good to go, we're gonna flip. So this is the side with the sleeve, and it's a little odd, but it's not bad. Like I said, just make sure that your side of your shirt's folded in correctly like you want it, or else you'll end up with a weird little design that you might not necessarily want. Just be one of those happy little mistakes. Okay, so that's 4-point, 8-point here. Trying to flatten everything. Make sure my folds are in uniform. Alright, so again, that's the 8-point, and if you want to do a 16, you just do one more little fold, but I'm not going to do that for today, because I had saturation problems. I also did a muck dye, so those are a little bit new to me. But anyway, we're gonna get tying here. So my usual pattern for the mandala is a simple zigzag. Not everybody likes to do that. Some people, and I don't know how, but they fold an accordion fold like in a circle, and then you can get a flower, or I honestly, like I said, I don't know how they do it, but I haven't put too much time and effort into trying. So yeah. Anyway, I've got some sinew here. Make sure it's waxed. And I'm going to go about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches up here. And that'll just create a circle. And then we'll start with the zigzags. So, just so you understand what I'm doing. Also, we're going to make sure that we pull tight on each wrap of the sinew, because that will really ensure that those black lines stay black, or if you're doing a white t-shirt, that the white lines stay white. Oh goodness. I usually do a little slip knot on the sinew, but it's just in a little bit of a hurry today, so we're just gonna wrap and pull, and that should lock it in. But if you want, you can do a little slip knot. So got our first little sinew wrap on. I'm going to throw some elastics on here just as a precaution so I don't lose my fold. Alright, so now we're going to zigzag up. And I just kind of let the sinew bite down on that. Then we'll wrap it again, pull, and just kind of do the same thing, wrap and pull. Some people wrap it 2 or 3 times before they pull, and that's totally fine. I found the best kind of lines I get from a single pull every wrap, and just kind of trying to consistently keep tension on the line. Alright, I'll speed this up a little. Okay, so that is done. You can see it's in the typical zigzag fashion. I did leave a little bit of a tail there just so it's easy to unwind when I'm going to rinse it out. So now we're going to do what's called a discharge of the dye, or some people know it as a reverse dye. And that essentially, we're just going to let this soak in a bleach and water bath for 20 to 30 minutes. For the bleach and water bath, I do about 50-50 bleach and 50% water, 50% bleach. Sometimes I do more water, but either way it seems to reverse the dye. So let me grab some water and bleach. So I'm using purified water. You can use tap water if you'd like, but that's just me. And now the bleach. So you can dump it into the water, but I don't know why, I just dump it on top of the garment. And I'll probably do less than 50% bleach on this guy. Maybe, let's say, I don't know, 10% bleach. But I'm sure it'll be enough to dye. I'll do a time lapse on the discharge. It'll be kind of interesting. Okay, so it's actually been about 30 minutes and I had to stop the time lapse because I added a little bit more bleach and it like suds or soaped up really intensely. But you can kind of see there's a little bit of black still in between there, which isn't really desirable, but it also isn't a huge deal because we're going to be adding black ultimately. And so just kind of want to ensure that it's discharged as much as it will. And then we're going to neutralize the bleach, which is a very important part that a lot of people forget. And that's how you end up with holes in your fabric, because the bleach never gets neutralized and it continues to eat away at the dye and fabric. So you can kind of see there's a little bit of kind of orangish stuff coming off, and I'm pretty sure that's more dye discharging. But yeah, you can see it definitely took most of the black out compared to what it was. So yeah, set this aside for now, and then we're going to neutralize the bleach with hydrogen peroxide and water. Usually there's kind of a sudsing effect, kind of like that. And that's how you can tell when the bleach is really neutralized. So I'm going to neutralize the bleach, try to really work that in, maybe even let it sit there for a good 10 minutes or so. And then I'm going to just rinse it with like some warm water to just ensure that all the bleach and the peroxide water is out. And then I'm going to let that dry for about 24 to 48 hours, maybe even 3 days, 1 to 3 days basically. And then once this is like bone dry, then I'm going to do an ice dye on it. And that's kind of how you get that crazy cool effect. So we'll see you here in a couple of days once this is dry, and we'll get it all set up for the ice dye. Okay, so I let this dry for a few days, and I was about to start putting dye on it, but then I'm like, oh wait, let me get the camera. So I'm going to start with some yellow dye, and I'm using Dharma's lemon yellow, and I'm just going to gently start to form a line down the center with the yellow. And just using little bits of dye at a time. You also want to make sure that you're wearing your mask. You're working with industrial grade dyes and chemicals here, so don't take that too lightly. Oops. So yeah, lots of patience and control as far as placing the dye goes. Some people have different methods. I just use a little tiny spoon. I'm sure there's definitely a lot of other methods you could use. I think of a salt shaker, or even a little baby spoon, like one like half the size of this or even smaller. I've seen people use them. I don't know where they get them, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere. So, gonna do a little bit of royal blue next. And I'm just gonna go kinda to one side of the yellow. I realize that'll be pretty difficult in a lot of places, but just gotta kinda try your best. And this is also on a slight incline if you can't tell. So I'm going to be doing kind of an incline muck dye. I'm not sure if the incline part matters when you're doing the muck, but we're just experimenting. And I should have a little bit of foil or here, something here to catch that dye and stuff, but I ran out of foil, so makes it kind of hard. And it's like 4 in the morning where I'm at, so not many places are just open for me to run and grab foil. So final color, black. You could be going a lot heavier with your dye on this. I'm trying to conserve dye. I honestly think in a sense that it's kind of a waste of dye to use too much, so just trying to do what I can here, give you guys an example to follow, and then you guys can do it at home, see what you come up with. Alright, so you could definitely do a lot better. You could flatten it out like perfectly and wrap it up with foil and make it look great. But I did not do that today. Like I said, I ran out of foil. I don't think it's a big deal. I'm pretty sure it'll get some saturation there. And if it doesn't, I'll just put some liquid dye on it. So whatever. We'll make a way forward. I'm gonna go grab some ice, throw it on there, and then we'll let it melt and do its thing. I might throw some soda ash on top of the ice, but I'm just using some ice from the store, and it's in my freezer. And so that'll be it for this one. Then we'll rinse it out and get some final pictures when we're done. Okay, so the shirt has been washed and dried. You can kind of see the mandala pattern. I almost feel like I did maybe a little bit too much dye, or potentially I didn't do the reverse dye enough, because there were some black spots, and I wonder if these are the black spots. It's kind of hard to say at this point, but you can try to remedy that by doing a second or even third bleach water soak, but in between you want to make sure that you neutralize the bleach. So, thanks for watching.